Hello, ladies, gentlemen, and eager historians. I'm Miss Brown from Grand River Prep High School, and today I'm going to do a tutorial that explains the skill of determining the meaning of a key word or phrase that contributes to the main idea of a source. When you're doing an IF or an FA on this skill, you'll always be given a primary source document, and then there will be a quote that is selected from the text that you're going to be asked to determine the meaning of it and how it connects to the main idea of the source. By the end of this tutorial, you should be able to use specific and descriptive language, and that's in your own words, to explain the meaning of the keyword or phrase that has been selected out of a text or primary source document. And you should be able to explain how word choice and tone are used in a primary source document to enhance the author's purpose for writing the document. So if you haven't noticed yet, 1, 2, 3 as a skill is very closely related to 1, 2, 2, which is the purpose. And it's really hard to figure out how something contributes, how words contribute to the purpose if you don't yet understand the purpose. So this is something that you would do probably after you've completed the 1, 2, 2. So when you're looking at learning target 1, 2, 3, determining the meaning of words and phrases and explaining how they contribute to the main idea or the purpose of a source, the first thing you need to do is determine the meaning of the keywords or phrase. To do this, you're going to explain the meaning of the keywords or phrases and what the author meant by those specific words that have been selected. That's their first step. But if you notice in the standard, it's not just determine the meaning of key phrase, period. It is determine the meaning of the keyword or phrase and how it contributes to the main idea of the source. So the second thing you need to do is reflect back on the purpose of the document. This is what you would have done for skill 1, 2, 2. What is the purpose? And the next thing you're going to do is explain how the meaning of the words or the phrase contributes to the purpose of the document. So explaining how the word choices and the tone connect back to the author's purpose of the text. Let's look at how this looks in this imaginary document that I have just made up. So at the beginning of the school year, here's the phrase that you're given. My A hour had 100% of their IFs turned in last week. This contributes, how does this contribute to the main idea of Miss Brown's greeting to her C hour? So in this primary source document, right? Miss Brown, the teacher, this is her greeting to her C hour class. It's the second week of school. It's September. It's 2020, and it's 11 o'clock a.m. So what I want to do, because I'm a great historian, just like you guys, I want to remind you that a historian always sources a document before they read the document. So because it's week 2 of school, I know a little bit about how the first weeks of school go, and I know that in the first few weeks of school, teachers are really trying to build good habits for the school year, and they're also trying to build positive relationships with their students. So I wonder if Miss Brown is greeting her C-hour class in the second week of school. It's very likely that she's going to be trying to encourage students and have a really positive interaction with her class. So let's take a look at what the document says. In this document, she says, "Good morning, historians. Some quick housekeeping memos I'd like to share. My A hour had 100% of their IFs turned in last week, and C hour had 91% of their IFs turned in. I want to remind you all that 100% is always our goal, and I believe that this week C hour can reach their goal too." So the phrase that we are going to be determining or looking at is where she talks about her A hour, and that's in bold on your screen here. So let's go through those steps of how we would determine the meaning of this phrase in a primary source document. So first, I need to explain in my own words, what did Miss Brown mean when she said my A hour had 100% of their IFs turned in? I am not going to quote the document, and if I only just simply plug in some synonyms for it, that's not quite what we're looking for. I'm trying to determine the meaning. What did she mean when she said that? So when she said those words that are highlighted, Miss Brown wants her C hour to know that getting 100% is an achievable goal, right? The reason why she brings that up is she wants them to know that there was a class that did get 100% and it's totally possible. So Miss Brown wants her C hour to know that 100% is an achievable goal. The second thing I am going to do is I'm going to reflect back on the purpose. Oh yeah, what was the purpose? She's greeting her C hour. It's early in the school year. The purpose that I identified is that Ms. Brown wants to motivate and encourage her C hour class to get 100% of their IFs turned in. And the next thing I'm going to do in order to complete this skill is I'm going to explain how those word choices that she used in the quote or the selected text and the tone of the document as a whole, how do those connect back to the author's purpose of the text? So Miss Brown is using positive language that's getting to the tone. She's avoiding negative words, and she's doing that because she wants her students to feel encouraged. So I want to remind you all that the word choices that are used, the tone that's used, the imagery that's used in any document, that those connect back to why the author is writing the document or the purpose. Now let's try this with a primary source document. So determine the meaning of stay home when you are sick that contributes to the main idea of the source. So let's take a look at our document here. This is a primary source document. It was released in May of 2020. That was during the COVID-19 pandemic. This document was published by the CDC, which is the Center for Disease Control. And this is a public document that this on the cdc.gov. These are printable flyers that people, individuals, or companies can use to put on their businesses. And let's take a look at what the document says. All right. Don't feel well? Stay home when you are sick. Tell your mom, dad, or caregiver before you come to school. Tell your teacher, an adult, before you become sick at school. And these are different things. When it says don't feel well, it says cough, sore throat, loss of smell or taste, muscle pain, chills. And then other symptoms include fever, runny nose, and there's a bunch diarrhea, headache, and poor appetite. All right, so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to explain what does the author mean by the specific use of language. I want to remind you all that this is a super simple document that we're using for teaching purposes, but I need to think about, remember always my purpose, like why did the CDC make this poster at this time? So let's see where we go with that. So here is an example of what a 1, 2, 3 would look like. Just a quick reminder that an exemplar is an example that shows you if your answer on a test or an IF contains these parts, if you explained the meaning of the quote, and if you related the meaning of the quote back to the purpose of the text, then that's how you do a 1, 2, 1. So let's take a look. And all of those skills I have bolded here in the exemplar. The CDC wants citizens to self-check their own health to avoid leaving their homes if they're not feeling well. So in that first sentence, right, I have explained the meaning, like why did they say this in this? Why did they say stay at home when you're sick? All right, they said it because they want people to, before they leave their home, to decide if they're sick and to avoid leaving their home if they're not feeling well. And now to get that 2.0, I need to connect that back to the purpose of the document. So the purpose, I want to remind you, is that the CDC in 2020, in May, when they published this document, they were very motivated to let people know the things that they need to do to stop the spread of COVID-19. So let's take a look here at the second sentence of this exemplar. The CDC is motivated to stop the spread of the coronavirus, so they are asking citizens to stay at home and not go in public if they're feeling less than healthy. Right? Their purpose in making this poster is to try and get people to use precautions so that the disease will not spread. All right. This is a non-exemplar. This is something that students often do. I believe when they feel that they just read, determine the meaning of stay at home, and then they just try to write it in their own words. So this would not work for a 1, 2, 1. Let's take a look at this non-example. The CDC wants people to not leave their homes if they are unwell. Something I noticed that the student did do is, you know what? They did not just restate it, and they didn't just quote the document, okay? But this student only completed part of the skill. The skill asks to determine the meaning of the phrase that contributes to the main idea of the source. So this student did determine the meaning, but they did not explain how the meaning of those words contribute to the main idea or the purpose of the source. Thank you so much for watching, ladies and gentlemen. I hope that, let's go back and review really quick what our ICANNs are. So I want you to reflect back. Can you determine the meaning of a keyword or phrase and how it contributes to the main idea of a source? Can you use specific and descriptive language to explain the meaning of a keyword or phrase in a primary source? And can you explain how word choices and tone are used in a primary source document to enhance the author's purpose for writing? Thank you for watching.